Hey, everybody, this is Ramon Ray, founder of smarthustle.com. Thanks for joining me for another exciting podcast with another amazing entrepreneur. And we're going to have a great time today. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, can you do me a favor and do yourself a favor? Share this with another entrepreneur. Share this with another business owner. Give us a star rating. Give us a review. Say how much you loved it. And if you didn't love it, quietly whisper and tell me you didn't. Either way, though, we're glad you're listening to us. Today, we're talking to Joseph Andrews, who's founder of BluMaan Group, or BluMaan. And so, Joseph, you know where that came from, BluMaan. So, Joseph,
no worries.
Spending time with us today. Really appreciate it.
For sure. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And so, BluMaan, let's see. Can you spell that for us? B-L-U-E-M-A-N-N, maybe spell it for us.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, just before recording, everyone spells it wrong. Probably something we should have considered. But it's
okay.
B-L-U-M-A-A-N.
Great. And I should have known it because I'm the one interviewing you, so I should do my homework. B-L-U-M-A-A-N. B-L-U-M-A-A-N. BluMaan. Check them out, BluMaan.com. Hair products for men. Really amazing company. Interesting story, which we'll hear about right now. So, Joseph, why don't you give us a little overview of who you are in case people can't see. Joseph has what looks to me 99% perfect hair, which is very appropriate for what we're doing today.
Excellent.
So, Joseph, take a few minutes to tell us about your journey yourself. And then if you want to start right at the top, what is BluMaan? Why should people care and be interested in it?
Sure. I mean, first of all, I'm constantly striving for that last 1%. We're almost there at 100% perfect hair, but it's a journey.
Maybe the only way to do that is to do what I do every Friday.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a different market. So.
I've considered the buzz cut before. Maybe one day. Yeah. It's a scary leap, but sure. Just to give you a bit of background. So I've really, YouTube is kind of like where it's my bread and butter. It's where I came from.
Okay.
And so I've been on the platform on YouTube for over 7 years now, and I've got about 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. Something like around 230, something like that, K on Instagram. Wow. And it's really all, for the majority of my content, it's men's hair related stuff. So it sounds really niche, but it is niche, but it's something that worked out.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, men's hair care products you have, I want you to educate me. Are there, and I like to put my foot in my mouth, so if I'm wrong, are there two different types of men? Men who have gritty nails, they carry a hatchet with them, and they eat raw meat, and they just, they live in a log cabin. And then there's
the Ron Swansons of the world.
Yes, and then there's men who want to look good, want to dress up, or is there a crossover? I'm just teasing it away, but meaning help us understand what type of man you're talking to. Give us a little understand that.
Sure, it's a great question, and really, in the traditional sense, that used to be more apparent. Okay. That there used to be, the whole stigma around guys taking care of themselves.
Right.
Used to be looked down upon a lot more than it is today. Mm-hmm. And really, when I started my YouTube journey close to 7 years ago, that was kind of the tipping of the iceberg, or whatever the phrase is, of more and more guys getting into hair really at an exponential rate. And not just hair, grooming, fashion. Mm-hmm. Basically, how do you look? What can I do to make myself look better?
That's right.
It seems it's like a question that, on one hand, sounds common sense, but a lot of guys just didn't think about it or really care, or thought that maybe that's a bit feminine if you're going in that direction. So I would say there's been a lot of change that's happened over the 7 years, and it's increasing as well. More and more guys are starting to take care of themselves, including the first category. The important thing to recognize is that, or what I always try to facilitate for people, is being the best version of yourself. So that can mean something different for everyone, but that also gives everybody the ability to do things that will make them feel more confident and look better, whatever that means to themselves. So if you're quite a manly kind of guy, maybe you want to figure out how to shape up your beard in a way that doesn't look too scraggly, too, on the street looking, but still refined, and still keep that edge that you identify with. And for someone else, like
my faux pas could be, and these are just very stereotypical stuff, so forgive me, audience, but I'm just trying to understand the target. You could be a guy, typical construction firm or whatever, hard at work, gritty in the day, But when you come home, that's when BluMaan is for you. So that's, there's many
That's
different,
right.
you can't paint a stripe to really anybody,
Yeah, if you're going out, I mean, in this climate, you're probably not. But if you're going out for some drinks in the bar, or you're meeting up with some friends, those are the kind of things that more and more guys are thinking about. Like, okay, I wanna put in some extra effort to come across the best way that I can.
Got it.
And really, to the point of like who's our audience, it's what I said. It's for those who want to be the best versions of themselves. So I think there's a lot of companies out there that kind of latch onto the marketing hype of, if we're going to make a men's product, we have to make it as manly as possible. Otherwise, they're not going to want to buy it. We have to let them, it has to be black packaging. It has to be, really aggressive, so that they're going to wash their hair with this stuff.
Yes.
And I think that's quite an old way of doing stuff now. So you're seeing a lot of new companies being a lot more creative and a lot more inclusive, I think. And that's really what, is important to us, is understanding that you're taking care of yourself to be the best version of yourself. And you're not doing it to try to look like David Beckham,
Right.
or to try to look like whoever that, this idol of yours might be.
Right. No, I think you're right. Marketing has changed. And even, the typical hot girl that you see on beer commercials or whatever, that doesn't apply for a whole new generation of dudes as
Right.
well, or it's changing, due to a variety of reasons. So I think we talked about a lot, but let's take some more time, Joe,
Sure.
to talk about your journey. So how did you, a little bit
Okay.
about your background? You've been on YouTube for a lot. Got it. Where did the transition go to where you launched BluMaan? Why? What was that? Give us a bit of insight into that happening between what you weren't doing before BluMaan
Yeah.
and when you launched it. Help us understand.
Sure. So I'm 26 now. I started when I was, I think, 19, maybe just about to turn 19, 18, 19, something like that. And it's not something that we needed to get into, but I grew up in different places in Africa. So my family moved around a whole lot. And basically, I took a gap year between high school and university, because I ended up going to the UK for university. But I lived with my aunt and uncle in Washington, D.C. for 1 year in their basement. No windows. Worst, like, if you don't have windows when you're sleeping, you never know when you're going to wake up.
Yes.
That was a big learning experience. But it was during that gap year first of all, I always had a passion for content creation and media in general. And then that just really lined up with my intense interest with hair. That kind of came out of nowhere. And I seem to have this pattern of not being able to learn about something if I'm not interested, but as soon as I'm interested, it's all I can think about for a while. So that's what happened. These two paths kind of collided. I was creating content previously. It was more kind of skits, more fun stuff. The channel wasn't really growing. It was more education for me to learn how to edit, how to present myself on camera, stuff like that. And then when I really got into hair, I decided to, I did a lot of research on YouTube. I found a couple prominent men's hair product companies on YouTube at the time, started doing some product reviews for them, or not for them, but I bought the product and did some reviews. Something as simple, like my first video is a review of a hair clay. So it sounds like who's gonna find that. But it ended up working out. I found out that there's a lot of guys in my shoes at that time who want to know more about hair care specifically, in my case anyways. And my learning experience along the way, I was able to translate into videos and share it with a bunch of guys. So it was a little unorthodox. I never went into this journey with the plan of this turning into a career per se. It was just really a passion of mine. I think it's important to identify that a lot of successful channels, a lot of success in general, comes from a passion project in the first place. And You're not really, you're not waiting to see those huge numbers. You're not waiting for the instant replies and stuff. You're just enjoying the progress. And that's really the start of it. That's what kept me going, because I was having a good time doing it,
I love it.
So yeah, I was making videos and whatnot for probably about a year and a half. During that time, I got connected with with the hair product company that I first reviewed, and then also another prominent men's hair channel on YouTube at the time. We did some cross promotion that helped with some of the numbers. And about a year and a half in, I think that's when I had about 350,000 subscribers, something like that.
That's it, huh?
That's when
junior guy,
yeah.
350. Just
it's nothing. No, I would argue, like, I mean, there's so much that we could talk about, but having a smaller number of guys who are more passionate, or when you have a smaller number of guys, it can feel more like a family, and you can
Yes.
actually have more impact with a smaller amount of people than when you're bigger and it's more diluted.
Good point.
So, that's another thing for anyone who's thinking about starting stuff. Like, you don't have to wait till you're absolutely huge. In fact, it can often be an advantage to kind of get in the door with the group of people who are really excited about what you're doing. So I think
Hey, Joseph,
it was the perfect time.
Hold that thought, Joseph, 1 second.
Sure.
That was a genius moment. You don't have to
Okay,
wait for
excellent.
perfection, and you don't have to be
Yes.
huge and big to make money or do something amazing. You can start small. I love that, and have very engaged audiences. Please continue, but that was amazing. I had to ring the bell.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that. It's a good concept. But yeah, so it was about a year and a half in, and I was in university at the time, so I was studying television and radio in the UK, and kind of treating, I was uploading regularly enough, but YouTube was still more of a hobby of mine than knowing exactly what I was going to do with my future. And then I got an email from my now business partner, or one of the founders anyways. He was a similar age to me, and he said, have you ever thought about starting a hair product company from this? And so I didn't know who this guy was, but I replied, I was like, yeah, I've thought about it, but I'm in university right now. I'm studying media. Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff. It's not something that I've had the time to do. And he basically replied saying, well, maybe we can work together and I can help you out with that. So he was based in Vancouver, and that summer I had about 3 months off, and I went to his house, met him for the first time in person, and we just cranked for 3 months straight on trying to get a company together.
Did you bought a two-way ticket or one-way ticket? Let's see the kind of
It
guy
was
you really are.
what?
That's okay. You know the answer.
You know what? Because it was so long, I don't remember. I was probably two-way.
I would just tease. Meaning,
I always have an escape route.
I got you. But that's good. That's the way people hustle, right? You just let's make it work. 3 months. I love it. So continue. So you guys got together 3 months, created.
Yeah, and we had a couple. We had a number of Skype sessions beforehand, so I knew kind of who this guy was, what he was about. It's obviously still a risk, but at the same time, I didn't have much to lose. So I slept at his grandmother's house for like 2.5 months, however long I was there. And we were working day in and day out on trying to get this first product out. So now the advantage that we had was the fact that we already had a really strong hair focused men's community from my YouTube channel. Right. So it would have made no sense to not work with the community on seeing what they are looking for in the market. So instead of creating products to sell to them, we were very specific to work alongside the community and find out, what do you feel like is missing from the market? What kind of hair products do you guys want to use? What do you think could be done better? Like, these are all, and then it excites my audience as well, because we're intentionally trying to make something that's going to solve needs that they haven't been able to find somewhere else, right? So it was a very community-driven project, which it still is, but especially at the beginning, to like get our first product out there. That was, it was great to have that resource, and it shows the benefit of, if you have that community, or if you're able to create some kind of community around you, then there's so much input and learning that you can get from those people.
And so, Joseph, you're not even selling, really. I mean, that's a powerful thing, that most people have the product first and then think of reverse engineering how to market it. But from what I can see from you, you had that, you were serving people already. So it was like, let's build it together. Now, these millions, hundreds of thousands of people, as it were, are like pre-customer stakeholders. We helped create BluMaan's product.
That's right. That's right. And I don't remember the quote exactly, or even where I heard it, but a lot of companies, they're like, how do we build a community? We need to build a community, feel like we have a community. But you can't strive for a community first. You need to provide value and have, have people listening to you in the first place who respect what you're doing. And as soon as you provide value, education, and information, then that can turn into a community, because people want to hear what you're saying. People want to come back.
I love it. That is powerful, man. That is, and the rest is, as it were, the rest is history. Meaning you built the first one, you kept education videos, marketing, the stuff we see, and build and build. Or was there any other downs, lows, or big pillars that you can think of, or is that pretty much the playbook over the last few years?
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's been pretty much how we operate. So what we ended up, we put very little money to actually, like, neither of us really had that much money to start it. So we ended up with the first product anyways, we had a company giving us free R&D, so free samples, and we said, we want this change, we need this scent change, it's not working like this, until we got to the product that we like, and we ended up kind of crowdfunding it, or pre-orders. So
Nice.
we put it up for pre-orders. We were able to fund the orders and then get it out there. And then we had, enough money. So we've only done pre-orders for the first launch. And then all of our other launches, we've been able to back ourselves.
I love it.
But yeah, each step of the way, each product is, we try to involve the community as much as possible. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And give us a sense of what it's like to create a physical product, especially hair care, health and beauty product. Not every detail, but meaning, is it a matter of, you said you had a company. So you have a company say, we want this type of stuff, color, resin, smell, whatever.
Yeah.
They have scientists put it together, send it to you like if you were doing a t-shirt or a mug. You say, no, don't like this, change this. And then now we'll order 10,000. Is that the essence, or is there more to it than that?
It's pretty similar to that. There's kind of two routes you can go in the beauty world. You can either go white label. I mean, I'm sure it translates past the beauty world, but
Sure.
This is kind of what I know. You can either go white label, which is a company that already has a full range of products, and they'll sell it to you, and all you have to do is slap your label on it. I really didn't like that method. I wanted this to be personal. I wanted it to be something that we are directly involved in, and especially for getting the community involved, we can't take all that feedback and then go buy a bunch of pre-made products, right? But it's not a bad move for everyone. It just depends on your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then for us, yeah, it was just we spent a long time sourcing different potential manufacturers. They all will have slightly different agreements on how they work. But the one that we found specifically, they'll do free R&D as long as we have a minimum purchase order in the end. And we were confident that we could hit that minimum purchase order. If that might be too high for some people, then you might need to pay an additional or an upfront R&D fee. But yeah, it's basically, no one in our office was sitting around stirring ingredients together. So it was all working with professional manufacturers who take on board what we're looking for and then revise it till we get there.
I love it. Congratulations, man. Let's touch on a few of these key points. And again, people, there's so much you could say about it, Joseph. But again, Joseph Andrews of BluMaan, BluMaan.com.
That's right.
Happy to have you
That's
with
right.
this. E-commerce. For those who are just starting out, man, I know there's so many things you could say, but if you had to give a 101, somebody kidnapped you, put you in an airplane, Joseph, you got 10 seconds, and you have longer than that. But can you drop some science on us and maybe determines what they're selling? So I don't know how to set it up for you, but you're a smart guy. 3, 4, 5 things that you say, Ramon, if you want to succeed selling online, let's touch on that one. But maybe first, YouTube. And let's forget trying to sell on YouTube, just somebody who wants to build their channel for whatever reason. Any best practices that here's what you have to do, or here's what you can't do to build that channel from 500 people to 10,000 to 100,000. Not a billion, but
yeah. I think the what you can't do, there's more bullet points under the what you can't or what you shouldn't do, rather than the what you should do. Because the biggest hurdle when it comes to building a following is I'll just jump straight into the what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be doing it for the sole purpose of seeing the engagement increasing, those followers increasing, the likes increasing, because that's a surefire way to get burnout very quickly. A lot of these channels, it's taken years and years. Even the most popular channels that you see today, say someone with 5-10 million subscribers, there's a good chance that they spent 3-4 years under 100,000, and they were catering to the people that they had at that time, right? They were enjoying that journey. Again, I think it's so important. And if you don't if you're not doing it to enjoy the ride, then you're not going to be doing it for very long.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the mindset really of like, why am I doing this right now? And it's hard for me to kind of say this because it worked for me, but if you're going to start a channel for the sole reason of making money by selling products,
Right.
it's not, you know, it's not a surefire way to work, and it's going to leave you, you know, unsatisfied if you're expecting quick results.
Right.
Now, if you're doing it because you're enjoying the process,
Right.
you're really seeing the impact that you're having, even if it's just a few people, allow that, you know, that's still kindle to the fire. That's going to grow. That's going to mature and spread out more and more. And yeah, just be realistic with your time frame. And then, so a couple of things that you can do.
Okay.
I like to keep it broad because everybody has a, you know, you need to do what you enjoy doing, right? But consistency is definitely key on YouTube, first from an algorithm perspective, and then also just to retain, you know, audience interest.
Right.
Consistency can mean anything between a couple videos a week to once every 2 weeks, depending on the complexity of your video and the expectation that your audience has for your next upload. Like if they're expecting something super high quality, then they can understand that it takes a little bit longer for that to get up there, right? For something like what I do and a lot of other YouTubers doing kind of men's style and men's hair, they try to upload as much as they can. And I can't keep up with, like, some of these guys are uploading like 5 times a week. I have no idea how they're making that many videos. I'm struggling to keep to my Monday and Friday schedule.
Right.
So yeah, up until recently, I've been doing about 2 videos a week. So yeah, consistency, enjoying the ride, and, you know, keeping expectations limited.
Yeah.
That's a couple good places to start, even if it's not like the most business savvy advice.
Sure.
But I think, you know, mindset is a good place to start with that.
No, I love that. I think that's powerful. Another thing that's, for my own selfish question, is Facebook versus YouTube. Clearly, YouTube has the SEO juice, as I understand from all the experts. You just can't beat that. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But does it really matter which one? Meaning, I got 1 million on Facebook, or a few 100,000, or high engagement Facebook. I got a lot on YouTube, and I still have the funnels, and I'm able to sell. Can both work, or would you strongly, for whatever reason, say no, you have to be on YouTube, or no, be on Facebook? Any thoughts either way?
You know, there's some people who have definitely become very successful through Facebook. I think it's a smaller chance of happening. Now, my success is through YouTube. We do have Facebook that we utilize, but, you know, not to the same extent that some people who are going full force on Facebook do. So I can't necessarily speak to those who put all of their effort into Facebook, how successful it can be. But what I do know is the culture of YouTube is very different to the culture of Facebook.
Good point.
And people on YouTube already have it built in that they're looking for people who they want to like rewatch and connect, and kind of, you know, they're on that constant search for, oh, here's a new person who I enjoy watching, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe and tune in. Whereas Facebook is a lot more kind of scroll, and if a video catches your attention, then maybe you might watch some of that, you know. And some people have done a good job. Some people have done a good job at keeping a consistent audience on Facebook, but I think it's more rare and harder to do.
I think that's a good point. Even myself, I mean, I think like YouTube knows anything that goes "wata" and how to defend yourself if you're in an alley. It knows all that, or some comedian. So
yeah, you can get down some serious rabbit holes on YouTube.
Oh, man, I'll look for hours later. Wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Pandemic success. How did BluMaan grow? You know, so many businesses are hurting, not doing well. You'd think people are all scared to buy any kind of health and beauty products, but as I understand it, you guys have grown and done pretty well, I think. How's it happened? Why do you think it's happened? Luck, strategy, just you're in the right market? What do you think?
Well, I'll bring some clarity to the matter. I'm not so we have started seeing some growth here towards the end. But when the pandemic initially hit, it was pretty hard for, you know, a lot of businesses out there, including ours.
Sure.
So there were a couple months that we didn't have growth. In fact, we had quite a decline in sales.
Sure. Okay.
And if you think about it, like, it makes sense because guys are buying hair products to look good when they're leaving the house. If they're not leaving the house, they're not styling their hair. There's no necessarily use in hair products. But that said, it wasn't enough to significantly put us in a bad place. And I mean, really the main reason for growth happening right now is, first of all, a lot of people are getting kind of fed up of staying inside. And, you know, one way or another are figuring out how to kind of get back out there, how to meet up, you know, even if it's in limited quantities with friends and whatnot. So naturally the culture is shifting a little bit from we had like where it was a few months ago.
Sure.
And then also just a more technical difference, which isn't really that interesting, but we've been trying for years to be a sole distributor on Amazon in the US.
Okay.
And we had a lot of like other B2B clients reselling on Amazon. So we've finally able to clear that up, and that pathway has helped tremendously. But that's more of like a technical thing, you know?
I got it. I have one thing for you that you should reject, and you shouldn't do this idea. I guarantee it's the stupidest thing you ever heard, but I excel in things like that. I think you should come out with BluMaan Zoom. It's probably shtick and tongue in cheek, but add this product on before you look like a dud, not so good, but add this, look, before, you know, something like this is made for video cameras. Either it's true or like as a joke. I think it would be a hit. That's just my 2 cents. Something.
Probably. I mean, people love the drastic transformations, you know?
Right.
It's
so,
yeah.
Consider that, you know, we talk to our scientists, and if you have a 4K Logitech, use this. If you have a 4K, you know, I don't know, Polycom camera, use this.
Look at the pixel differences. Exactly. It's so blurry.
I think it'd be a good.
We'll have to talk to our non-existent app developers.
Yes. On that. Please do. The other thing to touch on, Joseph, and again, thank you so much for your time. I know the aspect of, are you selling a product or are creating a solution and building community? Clearly, you're all about community, obviously. Talk more about that as the Smart Hustle audience is learning from you and what you've done. Talk to us about why that's so important for you. We're building a solution. We have a community, and not just here's a widget.
Right. Yeah. So sorry, my dog wants to leave.
Go.
Let me just let him out real quick. Just gonna let him out.
No problem. If you got to pause a bit, no problem.
No, that's all good. He was just he gets a bit ornery if I don't let him out.
No problem.
Okay, we're back.
Touching on products versus solutions.
Yeah. So, and the educational aspect, the providing value, providing solutions, showing someone how to do something is invaluable. It's so important in people wanting to purchase our products, because if they can understand exactly what the product does and how to use it before they get their hands on it, then they're going to have a good experience with that product, because they have watched enough information. And it's not only about what can the product can do for you, but it's how do I use a blow dryer? How do I use a brush? How do I, you know, like it's how do I get my hair in the best place for these products to then help accentuate that, rather than I have crappy hair, I'm going to buy this product. Oh, why hasn't it worked? You know, it's because there's a lot of information to understand when it comes to making your hair look the best that it can for a lot of guys. So it's so valuable for us, the information and education that we can provide, in addition to, you know, the sales. And it helps the sales at the end of the day. But yeah, it's, you know, it's really tied in there together. So it's the communities, that's one aspect. And then just how much guys have been able to learn from our company, that directly translates into, okay, well, now I'm going to try their products and have an understanding of, you know, how they're going to work for me.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, people discount so much free, as it were, but that's community. My playbook, I give most of the stuff away, you know, free. They trust. Now, if I sell something, going back to the widget, as it were, oh, Ramon's been talking about us. For whatever reason, we'll buy that from him. So I totally get
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And they're going to buy it from you because they understand its value more so than, hey, look at this is a cool product that I have, right? It becomes personal.
Correct.
And yeah, there's no trickery involved. It's great that we can provide so much education and information, because if someone learns something that they didn't know before and they learn that from you, then you immediately are, you know, that you have some respect in their hearts as someone who's authoritative on this matter.
Absolutely. No, Joseph, I think you're so true. Anything I didn't ask you today that you wanted to touch on, or anything else you wanted to share before we end this awesome discussion?
I think we covered most of it. You know, we're just going to keep trucking forward with the products and stuff. And I have a couple plans that are still under development, but I'm hoping to be able to open up like a physical salon in Los Angeles at some point in the future.
Nice.
That's a whole nother discussion, because I want it to be like half salon, half content generating machine,
Ooh.
half community focused. It's bringing in a whole lot of angles together. But so yeah, because when we were talking about the information, I was thinking, like, personally, when I was learning about hair stuff, or, you know, getting haircuts, there's a lot of stylists out there that will just cut your hair and send you on your way. You're like, oh, you want this? Okay, here you go. Boom. But the ones that I would come back to time and time again are the ones who give a haircut, explain what they're doing throughout, teach you how to style your hair, and teach you, you know, best practices for your hair back at home. And so that's what I've taken and really, you know, instilled into our company as well, from an information standpoint, because it's been so helpful in my life.
No, I love it. Listen, Joseph Andrews, this has been great talking to you, man. I really appreciate it. Joseph Andrews, founder of BluMaan, BluMaan.com. I'm going to go there and be a customer, because I have a guy who, one of my friends, he's always doing this, always doing this, always doing this, always looking, always doing this. I know exactly where to get that dude. So I'm going to go.
Is that his beard that he's doing?
Sorry, his beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Beard, yeah.
Not just his face.
Yeah, no. Yeah, let me clear. It's more like this. Like this.
Right.
And like this, you know. So, but listen, Joseph, thank you so much. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ramon Ray, founder of SmartHustle.com. You're listening to a Smart Hustle podcast. So wherever you're watching this, please give us a review, say you like it. Unless you don't, just whisper it to us. Give us an upvote, share it with somebody else. Don't be selfish. Share it with somebody else. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. SmartHustle.com.
Beautiful.
We are